Hoy there, it's Skyward Shield. Welcome to week 1 of football, or it will be in 5 days from now. Or to you guys, it will be 4 days, which will be 1 day from the official Thursday kickoff, though. But I'm joined by Bill. Say hello, Bill.
Hey, what is up?
What a great week. Because lots of things are coming this week. Mario Maker, Amiibos, which will make things a clusterfuck. That's going to ruin it, though. Mario Maker will be the glimmer of when it comes out, but the Amiibos are going to make it stressful for people. But we're not talking Nintendo. This is not Nintendo Talks. This is Football Talks. Because
Exactly.
Sunday is opening day for football season. But we still have to bring closure to the preseason or any preseason news. I can't really think of much to talk with Dallas. It's just a matter of let's see what they do now that everyone's together.
Right.
I'm not going to, I don't know if Dallas will make the playoffs, but you know what? I'm not going to say 2-12, 2-14 like last year, because they proved us wrong. So.
Right.
Anyway, so let's see. We're going to talk the Lions first. And Bill, the Lions' offense seems very well knit together.
Yes. And I think that has to do with Joe Lombardi being there for his second straight year. He's got the Lions looking like the New Orleans Saints that he was a part of earlier. And they have it woven together really intricately. They have a lot of weapons all over the field. We have Golden Tate. We have Calvin Johnson. Calvin didn't play much in the preseason, if at all.
It's better that way, trust me.
Yeah, having him for the regular season is all that matters. You have Golden Tate, who's, a catching machine.
Oh, yeah.
And you got Abdullah, and you got Joique Bell. Joique Bell coming off of an injury. That's the running situation. You have Theo Riddick that could probably return punts. I mean, it's a wealth of options at offense for the Lions, and it showed through the preseason. They sort of put their stamp on the preseason, and even when they got down in games, even their backups proved that they have a heart of a champion in coming back against teams like Jacksonville.
And supposedly we have a breakout player in Zenner.
Yeah, Zach Zenner, he's looking like a player, man. He's looking like a really good player.
Was he an undrafted free agent, or was he drafted?
He was undrafted, and he made the team out of South Dakota State.
Wow.
And I'm glad he made the team. To be honest, he has a very similar running style to Joique in that he runs in between the tackles. So if Joique were to somehow get hurt, it would be Abdullah, and then you would have Zenner as that smash mouth type running back and just hitting the hole, and punching people in the mouth.
Yeah. Hey Bill, do you remember when we did I want to say we did this, but did we make a prediction as to who would win each award at the end of the year, like offensive, defensive, and MVP? Or
I
overall?
think we did, yes.
Who did we have as the overall? Because I said rookie will be either Amari Cooper or Amir Abdullah.
I don't remember.
The overall, I can't remember who it was.
I think I put Abdullah there.
I put him for rookie.
Yeah.
But for the regular, the ones who've been around for more than a year, I don't.
I think we did it after the first regular season, first preseason game.
Yeah, but did we say who they were going to be? Because I don't remember. I know I have Watt as the overall MVP this year, assuming he takes the Texans to the playoffs, which with Hoyer as quarterback, I don't think that's possible.
True.
We do have good news for Houston fans, though, and obviously myself included. We'll get to Houston later, but yeah, because I want to say, I think I said the offensive MVP is going to be Golden Tate because he's going to be the best number 2 wide receiver ever, or
And I don't,
ever in the league for this year, not all time.
I don't remember who I put as
I
offensive.
I don't remember either. But oh well.
Uh,
I just wondered if you remembered. But sorry,
but,
Bill.
but and the other thing is that Detroit's defense looks like it hasn't missed a beat without Ndamukong Suh, the most overrated player of all time. I mean, sure, he's explosive on the defensive line, but not does a team does one make.
Have you ever? There's a theory. I think I told you about this, Bill, when we were in a call just to talk a few days ago about how there's an effect. There's some type of effect where like you take out one great person in a group, it makes the other people in the group force themselves to get better. Whereas
Right.
if that one good guy's there, it's like, oh, let's wait for him to make a move.
Right.
And that's where and I'm seeing that effect, and I can't wait to see if Ziggy Ansah becomes the breakout player. He'll, make the leap to be a star or an all-pro defensive player. Maybe make the Pro Bowl.
And here's the other thing. They have Haloti Ngata. It's not like he's no slouch. They have Ziggy Ansah. They re-signed Levy. They still have a decent, secondary with Ahedebo and Rasheem Mathis, etc.
They have Glover Quinn.
It's Glover Quinn. I mean, they have a team. They are built.
And
they
nobody
are
talks
ready.
about them.
They consistently put us down because we're Detroit. We're not, the God-ordained Green Bay Packers. We're always the Detroit Lions. We're always looked down upon. And the only time we're going to get any respect from the NFL or any NFL media is when we win a Super Bowl. And that's the only time the Detroit Lions will get any respect. We're like the Rodney Dangerfield of football. We get no respect.
Rodney Dangerfield?
Rodney Dangerfield's a comedian. His famous line was, "I'm getting no respect at all." Like in marriage, etc.
Oh. Okay.
He was famous in the 70s, 80s.
Only real 70s kids remember him. But do you have anything else in regards to the Lions in the preseason? Everything seems set for this team to be the surprise team that breaks out into the league, like Arizona last year. There's always one of those teams.
I feel that the Lions will upset the critics when they beat Seattle and when they beat Denver, and then people will start to have to take us seriously. When we beat Green Bay in Green Bay, then they have to take us seriously. No one's taking the Lions seriously, and that's how I want it, because then the Lions have a chip on their shoulder, and then the Lions will consistently use that playoff loss last year as fuel. Use the loss last year as fuel. Use people saying that you're no good this year as fuel when the Packers have no offensive weapons.
Now they have all the offensive weapons they could ever ask for. Just hope Eric Ebron breaks out, and this team's really, really good.
I mean, 3 tight ends. I mean, you have Pettigrew, you have Ebron, and you have Tim Wright.
So that's something. But anyway, Bill, do you mind if we transition to the next team on the list?
Go ahead.
Next team, the Patriots. The only thing we're really talking about, because who cares about how the preseason works, because that's Bill Belichick just experimenting, and we just want to see the results. But
and
what
really,
we're talking
he doesn't
about,
care.
Yeah, he doesn't care. But what we're talking about is, if you don't know, Brady has been cleared because the judge, who is a hometown hero to Boston already, says it was wrong of the NFL to suspend him, especially without him being aware of the possibility ahead of time. And they said, sure, you could fine him, but you cannot suspend him for this. Especially with no definitive proof. No decisive proof.
Well,
Without no decisive proof, you cannot suspend this player. That's what they said. That's what the judge said, and he's free. He's ready to play all 4 games, and he's going to play on the Thursday game, which we'll talk about later, against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And according to the CBA, he was only supposed to get a fine for said infraction. So a 4-game suspension was already excessive under terms of the CBA.
Exactly. Though Roger Goodell intends to appeal this, though I really doubt it'll go through, because in order for the appeal process to go through in courts, judges have to look at it and determine whether or not it is worth considering the appeal. Right. And if they're going to have to look at what the judge said as well as everything else in the evidence. And if they agree with what the judge says, like, yes, this doesn't make any sense, they will just drop it and that's it, which I hope happens.
Right.
But let's add, and according to Goodell, saying again, for the sake of integrity for the game, more like the integrity of his career. This has been breaking news apparently, though I don't know. Goodell ordered Spygate evidence. Remember Spygate, Bill? Apparently, yes, the Patriots did cheat during Spygate. They did steal papers from other teams. But Goodell ordered that evidence to be destroyed. And apparently he tried to make up for it by pinning Deflategate on Brady, but it ended up biting him in the ass and ruining his reputation even more, because people were already pissed off with him with what we talked about last year, with the whole Ray Rice incident, and people who are abusive in their family households going with a 2-week suspension.
Yep, it's ridiculous.
Here's the question.
It is ridiculous.
Here's a question. How the fuck does he still have a job?
Because 32 billionaires don't care. As long as they're making billions of dollars, who cares about miscellaneous problems? As long as it's not affecting the brand, which apparently it's not affecting the brand because it's still very popular, who cares? That's basically their motto. And until people start showing the NFL that they do care, then nothing's going to change.
There's got to be a point where everyone is, literally everyone's saying this guy needs to go. And the only way I can see it is if former sponsors withdraw until they get rid of Goodell. That's the only other way. If fans won't make him do it, money will make them do it. You know what I mean? It's like, you're not gonna get help from us. You're not gonna get our sponsorship, making it easier for you to advertise yourself until you do something about it, which I would love to happen, but it would take a personal scandal among Goodell for that to happen, you know? Which, honestly, is looking like it's trying to take off with the whole him destroying evidence himself, you know, being a big hypocrite. But, of course, the NFL's trying so hard to suppress that information because they don't want Goodell gone. Love Goodell.
I mean, he's a lame duck, and he deserves to go.
Oh,
that's my opinion.
Oh, that's that's pretty much every, not just New England fan, but everyone who feels they got wronged by the NFL in some way or form. Which, but I don't know, because I just hope the appeal doesn't go through. I'm really hoping that's the case, and Tom Brady, even if the appeal does go through and they have a hearing, Brady will still be able to play through the games until the final sentence has been made.
Right.
So,
and knowing how this is going to turn out, the NFL will be like, I'm taking it to the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court just gonna look at it like, really?
We've had much more serious subjects like gay marriage, and you're telling me this?
Exactly.
The possibility, the low possibility that you just think he did it, so he must have done it, is something for us to concern ourselves with.
Could you imagine judges like Sonia Sotomayor having to ask, now, Tom, did you deflate a football?
And he says no.
I mean, Isn't that the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? Literally, the legal system is being used to determine if someone let out air of a football. Who cares? It shouldn't have been in the other person's possession in the first place.
Yeah, plus the guys who did actually do it have now lost their jobs, and there's no way they're coming back into the league.
There's no reason why anyone else is handling the footballs other than an NFL employee. Why did they not have NFL employees handling the footballs in the first place? It just reeks that you're allowing people to cheat rampantly.
Yep, truly unfortunate, but of course the NFL won't care, because if it does get found out, it's a scandal that can go through the whole off-season, so the NFL will stay relevant and get some people away from other sports or whatever the fuck they're looking at the time.
Exactly. I mean, what were people talking about in June or May? Oh, Tom Brady's suspension. Will it happen? Won't it?
Even though they should have been talking about, oh, I wonder how the Kansas City Royals or the Houston Astros or any other baseball team is doing or whatever. No, they're trying to make them sway away from Major League Baseball or whatever other sports going on at the time. Stay on football. Just because remember, we're still relevant, guys. We're still here.
As they always say, any publicity is good publicity.
Yep, and let's go from bad publicity to more positive with Houston. Because should we get to the news first, or should we talk and preseason stuff, or should I talk Hard Knocks first?
I mean, whichever you feel like would be.
But let's at least turn this more positive, because Houston had episode 4 of Hard Knocks, and man, Vince Wilfork, he's quite a character. I'm so glad he's here. Even though New England will definitely miss him, I'm still glad he's here.
Right.
Because he is freaking hilarious. I don't know if you saw it, Bill, but in the last episode, in episode 4, which the final episode comes out today, but since we're not going to wait that, or it comes out tomorrow, but there's no way we would have been able to talk about that in time. So, because it comes out really late, like at 10 p.m. 9 or 10 p.m. my time. So, yeah, too late by then. We'll talk Hard Knocks finale next week. But anyway, Vince Wilfork dressed up in nothing but cowboy boots, a cowboy hat, and overalls. No shirt. No shirt at all, and just goes into the locker room with that. Everyone's laughing. You see Ryan Mallett laughing, other players laughing, and then since the camera crew already knows what Vince Wilfork plans to do, sneak up on Bill O'Brien, and they have the camera pointing to Bill O'Brien's face. He's all getting mad, like, the players are over there, and I'm guessing the cameraman told him to turn around, and then he looks and sees Vince Wilfork busts out laughing. He didn't laugh that hard since the whole impersonation from Kyrie Lee, who's now a Chicago Bear. May his career rest in peace.
True.
You had a better future with, like, I don't know, maybe Buffalo? They could use a tight end. Seriously, they're better off trading for other offensive players than drafting, because Rex Ryan will never allow an offensive player to be drafted ever again.
Right.
But yeah, that was just one moment that was funny, and then what's crazy was during the Saints Texans game in week 3 of the preseason, the general manager just made a trade with the Denver Broncos for I think it was a tackle. I want to say, I don't remember. It was I think it was like a left guard player. It's because Houston needs depth in the offensive line. And you also got to see David Kessenberry. Don't know if you know who that was, Bill. During his rookie year, his career got cut short because he got diagnosed with cancer.
Oh.
Or it was some type. I think it was some type of leukemia. I don't know. It was very serious, so he had to go get chemotherapy. He's mostly through it, but Bill O'Brien put him on the non-injury reserve list for his cancer. But so he is said to play come next season. Which, for a second with how the narrator was building up, it's like, don't tell me you're going to cut this guy. It's not his fault he got cancer. We get to cut you because you have cancer. Your whole rookie contract is going to end. It's like, you can't do that. You didn't even get a chance to play. But thank God it wasn't the case. But man, narrator, stop messing with my heart like that. Like, don't do that.
Narrator, why?
Don't do that. But then, of course, they did actually cut players, and you see who they are.
Yeah.
And now we already know who the final cut is, and I'm very disappointed. So now we can transition to actual Texans news. Houston cut off so many of the Hard Knocks favorites. They cut Easy Wachiku. They cut Courtney Brown, who I don't understand why they did. He was great. Pick 6. 5 sacks. He had 3 sacks, 3 to 5 sacks. He led the team in sacks in the preseason. How did he not make the team? Do they really trust their outside linebackers? Because what happens if Clowney ain't the one? Which I think he will be, but just what happens? I would want that sake of depth.
Yep.
And last but not least, Charles James. He could have been running back. I saw that. You see that run again and closer, and it's like, whoa, this guy could do it. I thought they were going to give him another chance in the Dallas game, but alas, it couldn't happen.
Right.
But now Charles James is with his girlfriend in the Baltimore Ravens practice squad, because his girlfriend's a cheerleader for Baltimore, if you didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
No, wait, was it his? No, I'm thinking of Kevin Johnson. Never mind. I'm mixing up other players. My bad. But no, he's with the Baltimore Ravens practice squad. One of those Hard Knocks stars is with the Giants practice squad, I want to say. Oh, no way, he got cut today. Because he failed the physical exam.
Physical?
Yeah, he failed the physical. Houston actually was going to put Charles James on the practice squad, but I guess Baltimore put a better deal. Oh well, I'm going to miss that guy because he was so freaking awesome. He was so funny. I liked his character. But
oh yeah.
In other good news, at least Arian Foster is going to be. He might come back either at the end of September or early October. So he might be around for the big one, the Colts game.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if I'll change my pick for that, because both of us said that they're gonna lose to Indy when they come over.
Oh yeah.
It's just I still think if Mallet was around, they'll win. Which I still think they're gonna switch at around Miami Dolphins game. After that, I mean.
Right.
They'll switch quarterbacks. They will. But what were you gonna say, Bill?
Yeah. No, I was agreeing with you.
Okay. So, yeah, the roster is all set. We have the Chiefs game in the final episode of Hard Knocks, which, who knows when that'll happen. But still, good news for Foster. Good news for those who drafted him really late in their fantasy drafts. So he might still have a shot at a 1,000-yard season if he comes back really early, like they're saying he will. I remember he missed 3 or 4 games last year, and he still made a 1,000-yard season, 6th best rushing in the NFL. Imagine if he played a full season. Wonder if we'll ever see that again. Maybe if he went to Dallas, he could. At least the line will make him safer, but whatever. Most of his injuries weren't really at the line anyway last year. The last one was like right when he got a touchdown against the Eagles, but anyway. Enough of that. Bill, it's time to talk our top 7 and bottom 7 teams.
Oh, man.
So we made lists of who we think are the best 7 in the league are and the worst 7 in the league are as things stand right now. We're basing it off... Well, Bill had his own factors, which... would you like to share the factors you decided into making your team lists?
What? Basically, my factors were, who I thought was going to be really good this year and who I thought was going to be really, really bad.
I see. As for me, I based it off of how they did last year, how their draft was, like what needs they got. So basically, like how their rookies are showing progress so far, and
Right.
the amount of talent they have in that team. So who you'll see is the last one, despite it being a team I'm not a fan of. Obviously, it's not because I don't like them; it's because I don't believe they have any talent at all. But so Bill, what do you want to start with? The bottom seven or the top seven? I'm thinking bottom, just to get the worst
Yeah,
out of the way.
I'm thinking worst. All right, starting with the seventh worst, and we'll get to the worst last. All
Okay,
right.
so we're gonna go top to bottom. All
Yeah.
right, so
So,
you can you say all of yours first, and then I'll say
all
all of
right.
mine.
So, what I would consider like team number 25
I
would
think
be
it's
the New York.
26. Let me count.
Yeah.
Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 26. Sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
actually,
So,
I listed all 32 teams. I'm not saying them all, obviously. Though I will note some of my list, but
I
continue, Bill.
I kind of made sure that my list it was top 7, bottom 7. The middle was too hard to,
Oh yeah,
rank
it is.
because it's you're splitting hairs basically.
Oh yeah. I but
I
I still tried. But
my number 26 would be the New York Jets. I feel that really Ryan Fitzpatrick is the answer at quarterback, and Geno Smith not being there actually improves their team.
well, at least they
So,
have Brandon Marshall on offense, so that's at least you have one good offensive piece, which they'll
I
need
mean,
him.
and
He's the work. He's
and
gonna be the
Eric
workhorse. What?
and Eric Decker really isn't that bad.
Oh yeah, true.
And they do have sort of a running game.
So-
So I mean,
Oh.
there's pieces in place where they can be respectable.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. So do you think on your worst seven are they the most talented, or do you put them highest because they have most of their stuff strung together?
I feel my top 7 are the best teams in football in
No,
all phases.
bottom seven. I mean, like where the
Bottom
Jets
7?
among these 7 teams did you put them at the highest part at number 26 because they were the most talented, or they have most of their team well strung together?
I feel like record-wise they'll be better. There's obviously huge holes in different areas for each of these teams.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm going to put number 27, the Oakland Raiders, okay, and I know they have Derek Carr, and I know they have Amari Cooper, but you're relying on a first-year wide receiver. You know,
Yeah.
the offense will be good coming up because they have Latavius Murray. I mean, it's coming.
Let's not forget their
Raiders will-
defense and Khalil Mack ready. Khalil Mack is ready to bring quarterbacks into the black hole. When he
Yup.
sacks a quarterback, a black hole, a void opens, and he brings the quarterback with him. I don't know. I love
I
the
just-
black hole joke in Oakland. But
I just imagine the black hole opening as just faces of actual people in the crowd.
oh god, what? Ugh, and in the bottom you see other Oakland Raider greats like John Madden, and Randy Moss or other players. I don't know,
Right.
but and what else you got on Oakland? Because I think their
So-
defense is gonna be great.
Their defense is okay. It's going to be. I think with Khalil Mack, they'll be respectable on defense. They'll be respectable on offense. They play a brutal schedule this year.
Oh yeah, because they gotta play the NFC North. But hey, when at least they'll beat Chicago. Wait till you see where I
the
put
next-
them.
The next team up, though, is Jacksonville.
Huh.
All right.
Not bad.
And I have, Blake Bortles and them. They'll be getting more and more respectable. I don't think that they're going to be the laughing stock of the NFL this year. All right,
Oh, wait till you see
and
my laughing stock.
it's the
Uh,
laughing. They're actually getting more and more respectable. It takes time for them, and some of their parts are hurt this year, and I feel that's gonna hurt them. And it doesn't help in the division that they're playing in when you get to face Houston and Indy 2 times a year.
mm,
Yeah, it's not good.
well, they
I
can
mean,
at least split with Tennessee.
they're 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 a step below those teams, and I feel they're a step below the Jets and Oakland so far, but they're coming along.
Yeah.
Is the point?
Don't forget they have Julius Thomas, who will take a while to come back, but expect him to, make an impact once he's back. Bill?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought something happened, but you can continue.
All right. So next up, I have the Cleveland Browns.
What number? This is the fourth?
I think 29 or
Okay.
something. Yeah, it's the fourth.
Your list is very similar to mine, except they're differently mixed up. But, yeah.
The Cleveland Browns, and for the simple fact that they still don't know what they're doing. Even when they're good, they're still bad.
It's just the
And-
offense, Bill. When you consider their defense, it's still good. And then they drafted, I think Danny Shelton's his name, a defensive tackle.
I mean, Cleveland actually was respectable last year.
In a way,
And-
until they bombed. But, yeah.
I mean, they bombed, but they were actually in the playoff hunt for a while. And, I mean, the Browns, they can't get out of their own way.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say that because Cleveland really deserves at least a winning one-year football team.
They just
You
need
know?
a quarterback. And I'll talk about my problems with them when it's my turn, but continue.
I mean, really, their best quarterback is Manziel. Josh McCown, he was in Detroit. He's garbage.
He was in Detroit?
Sorry. Yeah.
When? Was it when Stafford got hurt against the Browns, ironically?
No, I think he was in Detroit either the year before the 0-16 or on the 0-16 team.
Ugh.
He was part of one of the worst teams ever. I don't even want to think of the Josh McCown era.
No blame
So,
you.
so,
Continue.
ugh. So the next team up is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Huh. Wow.
Okay. I feel Jameis Winston will be an okay quarterback, not great.
Mm.
They have more talent. They have Mike Evans. They have Vincent Jackson.
They got McCoy.
They're actually really decent on defense. So I feel like they're pretty talented. They're just not there yet.
Hey, Bill. In my list, out of all these teams, the one I see most likely to break from my worst 7 is the Bucks because they're in a bad division. Because the playoff? What were the Panthers' final record? 7-9. I think. I don't remember.
Something like that.
It was really bad, so they have a chance as long as the other teams lose too, they'll have a chance. So, but yeah.
All right. Now, my next team is the Tennessee Titans.
Huh.
They're number 2 on the worst. I feel they have one piece right now, and that is Marcus Mariota. Mariota is their lone bright spot on what's going to be a hideous run attack and a subpar, a middle-of-the-road defense. But that offense, minus Mariota, they have no running game, and all they have is Kendall Wright at wide receiver. I mean, it's going to be rough.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
that's why I have them number 2. So that leaves the question, who's the worst team in football?
I've got two options, and can I guess, Bill, or do you just want to?
Take your two guesses.
No, I'm gonna give one because it's two teams I think that can be it, but I want to guess one.
Okay.
The Washington football team.
No.
Oh, it's the Bears, isn't it? Is it the Bears?
I have as my number one worst team the Chicago Bears.
Oh, I should have went with them. I know why Washington can't be the worst.
The only reason why I have Washington out of there is the simple fact that Kirk Cousins, or whoever's starting at quarterback, is an upgrade over RG3. They actually have a running game, they actually have wide receivers, and they have a decent defense.
Oh my
The
god.
The Chicago Bears have a sham of a quarterback in Jay Cutler. He threw it to Brandon Marshall way too often. So who do they have now that they got rid of? Brandon Marshall. So now they only have Alshon Jeffrey at wide receiver, so you roll coverage to him. Martellus Bennett in the middle. So there's two offensive weapons and probably one of the worst defenses I've ever
They also
seen.
got Matt Forte still. Do they still have Matt Forte?
They still have Forte, but he's getting up there in years. Now, they have a terrible defense, and look at the offenses they have to play in the division. The Lions twice, the Packers twice, the Vikings twice. They get Peyton Manning, they get Russell Wilson, they get... I mean...
They get Phillip Rivers.
They get Phillip Rivers, they get... I mean, they're going to face a blitzkrieg of quarterbacks this year.
Are you saying they're going to get the first pick of the draft?
I am saying that in Chicago, for this upcoming draft, they are getting the number one pick in the draft.
That's horrible. But man, yeah, your list, Bill, is similar to mine. It's just some pieces are different in different places. I don't think we matched at all. No, wait, we did once.
Oh man.
But all right, any other notes you want to make about your list of worst 7?
I mean, obviously this, we'll put the disclaimer, this is before any injuries occur, so obviously this is just a projection before the season begins. You know, I feel like if there's an injury to a certain few teams that they could be in some real hot water, like the New Orleans Saints. If Drew Brees were to somehow get injured, that team's going 3-13 immediately.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you where they are in my list. 21. I would have put them higher if they had Jimmy Graham, but man, I feel
Right.
I can tell they're gonna miss him. But anyway, for my it's my turn, I guess. For my worst ones, number 26, Jacksonville Jaguars. I think among these 7, they may not be the most talented, but I feel Julius Thomas is going to really scrape them a few wins when he comes back. Everything seems okay now, but the only downside, they don't have their first round pick. But I'll tell you, another team on this list doesn't have it either. But honestly, between the loss of Dante Fowler and the other team, Jaguars are affected less. So that's why I'm okay with Jacksonville being this high. Blake Bortles showed some progression, but this is more of a risk of putting them at 26, because if I took the negative way of looking at them, I would have put them probably at 29 or 28. So this is a little bit of an optimistic look at Jacksonville. But at number 20,
Right.
at number 27, I have the New York Jets. Their defense is arguably the best of all the teams on this list, with the other best defense right next to them, ironically. This team just needs, to me, a running back and a good starting quarterback, which Fitzpatrick will get them some wins. He's okay, but it would have been nice to see Geno Smith for all this for them, because they want to make sure if he's a bust or not. Which, you know what, you may as well go through, because you have perhaps the most talented offense you'll ever have for him with Brandon Marshall being here, but at least their defense is it's loaded. It's loaded. But
He's still a bust, in my opinion.
yeah, some
Even
people think he isn't, which you know what? Fine. Let's like I'm like put the money on the table and let's see. But next of a team who should go with their possible starting quarterback, the Cleveland Browns. You see, if Manziel was starting, I'd actually put them probably at 26. But they're going to start McCown, right? I think they are.
Right.
So Manziel is, I would say, go with Manziel, unless you're afraid unless he's really that prone to injuries, which it does. I don't know. It was just might be a one-time thing, but let's let the young kid get his chance. You drafted him in what, the first or second round? If they're drafted that early, that means they should almost be ready to start games, but alas, they won't. But hey, the defense is sound. They've got an okay running game, but they only are just a quarterback and wide receiver away from being a threat in the AFC North. Imagine if the Browns were just as competitive and just as good as Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. I would hate being a fan in that area because it would be it would make my heart drop every time my team was either this close to making the playoffs or just missed it or just made it, because it's that competitive there. But like I said in a previous podcast, the winning AFC North team is going to be 9-7 because that season for all of them is brutal. It is horrible. Rest in peace, AFC North. But now we're going to go to the AFC for the next team, the number 29, the Washington Football Team. Among offenses, this is probably the most talented because you have Pierre Garçon and you have Deshaun Jackson. I don't know. I don't know if I actually like Deshaun Jackson because I keep thinking about him when I think of lights out wide receivers that outrun secondaries, because it's him and T.Y. Hilton. It's him and T.Y. for the fastest. He's what?
Yeah. The difference is though, Deshaun Jackson is a douchebag.
Yep. Deshaun Jackson is a dick, but you know what? He puts up points. Honestly, I would see him in a fight with Dez Bryant for best wide receiver, but Dez would win. But anyway, their defense is, I think it's not as good as some people praise it to be. They need help there, but we'll see where they go. But it's because it's like what you said, Bill. They pick Kirk Cousins over RG3. Good. Because RG3 should not be there anymore. If the coach doesn't like you, you're better off going somewhere else. If you can get a spot. Because it looks like the only other team I think that needs a quarterback right now is New York. The New York Jets. They're better off.
I mean,
I don't know.
I'll put it this way. RG3 was the most overrated player coming out of that draft. People kept saying that he was going to be better than Andrew Luck. And look at those people now.
That was okay. I've heard that discussion a lot now. In the past week, like over the weekend, I kept seeing videos recommended to me on YouTube. It's like RG3 versus Andrew Luck. What happened? I was like, this was basically the Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf, was it?
Ryan Leaf.
This was the second edition of that, and we're gonna get the third edition one day between Jameis Winston and Mariota. One of them is likely to bust. When have you seen in a draft where all the top tier, cream of the crop, first round pick quarterbacks have all succeeded? I have not seen that. So
1983.
Seriously, when was that? Who was in that one?
Dan Marino, John Elway.
Holy shit.
Minus a few. There was a couple quarterbacks selected in '83 that didn't pan out, like Ken O'Brien, but Dan Elway, really? Dan Marino and John Elway.
Dan Elway, the ultimate quarterback fusion.
Super for quarterback. It's just a giant with Dan Marino's face and John Elway's body.
Oh man, that quarterback
yeah.
would have been like Michael Jordan winning every championship there was. Every year with him, the Super Bowl.
The 83 draft is considered one of the best quarterback drafts of all time.
Huh, that's interesting. But yes, the Redskins are 29, and at 30, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I would have put them lower, but you know what? Their defense is salvageable, and I almost forgot about Mike Evans, who was my favorite wide receiver coming out of last year's draft. Maybe not. Maybe because he was from Texas A&M. I think he was from Texas A&M.
Yeah.
That was totally not the reason, Bill. I don't know. If only Mike Evans was with Johnny Manziel, they might have synced up so much better.
I think he was actually.
No, I'm saying if those two were in the same team in the NFL.
Oh yeah.
You would have already had that chemistry between those two from college. It's perfect, but oh well. So yeah, you've already got you got a wide receiver to help out Jameis Winston. That'll be good for him, but it's just that offensive line. It's trash. It is bad. They need help. So number 31, the Bears, the Chicago Bears.
Oh.
Ah, man, Bill, you thought they would be 32. I told you. I only had one team in sync with yours, and I think that was the Buccaneers. They were both 30s, I think. The Bears, what talent do they have? Just Matt Forte. Who is the other dude for a wide receiver that you mentioned?
Alshon Jeffrey.
Yes. Just those two? Jay Cutler probably won't be the answer anymore. Jay Cutler's the next Matt Schaub. Had a few great years, and then just what happened? What happened to you, man? Where'd you go? That's where the Bears stand. They need so much help, and remember how I said I was more optimistic with the Jaguars losing their first-round pick for the season over another team? It's this team. They don't have Kevin White. They needed Kevin White to be. They needed him to be the guy already, and he was a first-round pick. That means yes, he could have been the guy, but alas. He's not there. He's not going to be there.
They needed help everywhere.
Yeah, but at least you would have had a respectable offense with Kevin White being on the other side.
Right.
So, there's no way this team will get a winning record. I will bet my lunch on it. But
I mean, look.
What?
Look at the division they're playing in, and look at who they're playing, and tell me where the wins are coming.
At most, they're probably going to split with Minnesota, to be honest, and that's it. But like you mentioned with your side, they have an ugly schedule. They got to play the AFC West. There are two divisions you never want to play. The AFC North, which Houston did, and that's why they went the way they were, and the NFC West. I would say the AFC East too, but it's just the Patriots that are the real, the real one. It's a guarantee. Yeah. It's almost a guaranteed loss with them. But but every other team you can beat. But it's just those two divisions you never want to play, and unfortunately for the Bears, they got to play one of them. They gotta play Seattle, they gotta play Arizona, they gotta play St. Louis. 49ers, they might be able to beat. They did last year.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, the only reason the Bears have a Sunday night football game is because that's the day they retire, what's his name? The last quarterback they had. I forgot his name already. Brett Favre. They're gonna put away his number on.
You mean?
They're gonna retire his jersey number in the game.
You mean? Yeah, but that's because they're in Green Bay.
Exactly. That's why. That's the only reason. That, and they want the best Green Bay game they'll ever have, because Jordy Nelson's gone, but they're still gonna put like 55 points.
I mean,
if you decide to watch a game on that day, just don't go watch that one, because unless you're a Green Bay fan, you have no reason to watch the Bears get slaughtered by Green Bay, unless you just want to see how touchdowns are done. But
I mean, literally, all you'll hear is bear meat.
oh god, don't make Fire Emblem jokes. But let's get the final team on the worst part of the list out of the way. Number 32, the Tennessee Titans, and it's for this reason. Out of all these teams, they are the least talented. What do they really have on offense? You just said right? That's it? What about defense? I can't think of anything else. Really, I've tried. I can't think of anyone else who will help Jameis Winston. He has to make the team good. And that's very bad for him. And honestly, between these seven teams, out of all the ones that are most likely to get the first round pick, it's either the Titans, the Bears, or the Washington football team.
Right.
It's those three teams, I think, that have the best odds. And by the way, Phil, I'm surprised you haven't asked me, where are the Raiders? You want to know where the Raiders are? Just outside this list. 25. And the 49ers,
Damn.
the 49ers are 24. Those two,
Damn.
I really wanted to put on the list, especially the 49ers, but the 49ers have a starting quarterback in Colin Kaepernick. So, that's why I couldn't put them on the list. They have a starting quarterback. They're good. They're okay. A little bit okay, but you get what I mean. The Raiders,
Right.
I'm on the Amari Cooper hype train. As long as Tavius Murray, who's so far okay right now, does what he did against the Chiefs last year, for almost every game, they'll be fine. And of course, Khalil Mack gonna be that breakout defensive player. But anyway, so Bill, let's move on up to the top 7. You will go first
man.
again.
Number 7, I have the St. Louis Rams.
What? Already that high?
Yes.
No way.
And I bought into the hype a little bit, but I'll put it this way. St. Louis has a good defense. They've improved at quarterback with Nick Foles. They have some young wide receivers. They have a young running core. And I feel like that defense can carry them, and I feel like they're ready to take that next step.
I guess they could carry them until Todd Gurley's ready to go.
And really, there was really zero difference between 7 and, 20, for me.
That's
Because
ironic.
really
That's ironic because I have the Rams at 20. I'm sorry. I think they're desperate for wide receivers, and I factored in Todd Gurley's injury right now. But don't worry, the Rams are going to go up into second tier.
To be fair, I feel there's 6 teams that can win it all. And here we go. Number 6, the fast-scoring Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh.
And I know what you're going to say,
What will I say?
but it's the Philadelphia Eagles with that offense, with DeMarco Murray. They have DeMarco. They have a fast-paced offense. And I know I said that Foles was a step over Bradford, but to me, Bradford's a step over Mark Sanchez. So they improved at quarterback that can run the system effectively, because that's sort of like a system that he's built for. He's not a long passing dude. And they have a good special teams and a good defense. And I mean, that's a recipe for success.
I will say,
All
Bill,
right.
I have the Eagles at 11 for this one reason. If one of those players that they're hyping in Philadelphia goes down, it's all going to go downhill from there. The reason why I put them at 11 is because it's too many risks. If these guys succeed, absolutely, I'd put them where you are at, where you put them, or maybe number 5. But if one goes down, the whole building collapses. That's right. That's why I
Right.
put the Eagles lower, because everything must come together and stay together for the whole ride through, which, like I said in our thing with the Eagles, with my bold predictions a long time ago, at around the Lions game on Thanksgiving, that's where it all comes down. So, I understand why. It makes sense for you to put them really high now, but I'm just saying it's going to change. But, continue,
Now,
Bill.
number 5, and you, anytime, Denver, you can never count a Peyton Manning team out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And he'll have a running game, and he does what he does best, play action passing. Off of that running game, he'll have C.J. Anderson. He has Demarius. He has wealth of talent on the team. He might not have Julius Thomas anymore, but that was sort of overrated as...
As what?
That was overrated.
Mm.
Their defense is much improved. They have Von Miller. I feel they're going to be okay on defense. They lost a few pieces on the offensive line.
Didn't they get
But I
Shane
feel
Ray?
Yeah, they have Shane Ray on defense.
Who you wanted in Detroit.
Yeah, I wanted him in Detroit.
It's okay. Detroit got an offensive tackle, which is it's not bad for depth's sake.
Yep, we got an offensive tackle off of the Broncos, but
and you got Abdullah later on. Don't worry, it's okay.
Denver, you just can't count anything with Peyton Manning on it out. So I'm going with Denver as number 5.
All right.
Number 4, I have the high-scoring Indianapolis Colts.
Wow.
All right. So Indianapolis has Andrew Luck. They have, oh my God, it's scary amount of weapons
T.Y.
on offense. But the thing that makes them only number 4 is that defense. That defense is going to get shredded.
Yeah. I can understand.
So that they might be really talented on offense. They're not talented on defense. And until they can get some players on that side of the ball, Andrew Luck is never going to make a Super Bowl. He can only make it as far as his defense will carry him. I mean,
and that's
sure,
why he lost to the Patriots twice.
I mean, sure, he can score 30 points, but when the other team's scoring 45, it doesn't make any difference. You know?
With that logic, you only need to show the Steelers game they played last year. That was the proof you need.
Exactly.
So
now, number 3, I have the defending champion New England Patriots. They lost their, corners. They're not going to be as good at that position. They still have a Hall of Famer in quarterback in Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
They still have, a wealth of options at tight end. Their wide receiving core is pretty thin right now until LaFell gets back.
Yeah.
But, Tom Brady's won Super Bowls with less. And overall, the team is more balanced. I feel like they're in a transition year this year. They won their Super Bowl. But I feel like anytime you have Tom Brady, you're one of the 5 best, no matter what.
Yeah.
All right. So number 2 is my Detroit Lions.
Oh, wow. Very high.
They're the number 2 team for this reason only. Their offense is scary. Their defense is scary. If that special teams unit can play at a high level, this team is a 13-3 juggernaut waiting to happen. And I feel like that's going to happen, and I feel like they're going to shock the world. And I really have high hopes for this Lions team. That we got slighted. This is our chance. This is our chance to put the nail in the coffin of all this 20, 30 years of hate. Enough is enough. It's time for a change. And it starts now.
I hope so, Bill.
But Number 1, I have the 2-time NFC champions, 1-time Super Bowl champion, Seattle Seahawks. And the only reason why, they added Jimmy Graham. They're already better on offense because they have Jimmy Graham, they have Marshawn Lynch, and they still have the Legion of Boom. They still have a ferocious defense. It's going to be a Detroit-Seattle NFC championship game. It's going to be a ferocious defensive battle. And it is... The two best teams are in the NFC, and that's Detroit and Seattle.
I can agree with that. But Bill, any other notes you have?
Like I said, notable teams absent. Green Bay. Sure, they have Rodgers, but they don't have anything else around him. Or they have Randall Cobb, and that's fine. But I don't think James Jones is going to make that much of a difference. And they have no defense. And that's about it.
Alright, well, Bill, hold on a second. Sorry about that, I'm back, and now let's get to my top 7. Alright, going off number 7, I have the Detroit Lions. Well, Bill, I would have put them higher, but I just want to make sure Ebron is going to be the one. If he's going to be the leading tight end or not. But other than that, everything's great. They have their path laid before them. They just need to walk it and walk it good. Walk it right. They'll be fine. As long as everything comes together and Ziggy Ansah becomes the breakout player that I want him to be, they'll be good. I'm not worried about everything else. Oh, great. Now the phone's ringing. Yeah, phone rang. So now I'll go to number 6. The Denver Broncos. As you said, Bill, can never leave a Peyton Manning team out. Everything's still together, but the only loss was Julius Thomas, but they'll be fine, I think. They have Shane Ray now. They have a really short... Out of all these 7 teams, I feel this is the most likely AFC team to not go to the Super Bowl, but the chance is still there. Peyton needs to stay healthy, and they just need to go for it. And then they did add Evan Mathis from the Eagles offensive line, so there's depth. Though, but again, this is what I believe to be, unless Brock Osweiler proves himself once Peyton retires, this is the Broncos' last chance at a Super Bowl, in my opinion. So out of all 7 teams, this is the least likely to go there. But at number 5, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are almost the same case scenario. I really should have put them at 7 or out of this list in favor of the Cardinals at number 7, but between Carson Palmer and Ben Roethlisberger, I would rather trust Ben Roethlisberger. The offense is loaded, though most of them are suspended. I think they'll be fine. Most of the rough games aren't until every player comes back. So by then, they'll have every piece, and those are the games that really matter. So you can afford a loss to the Patriots now more than it would have been later on. You know what I mean? You know how some people say the last few games are more important than the first few?
Yep.
So, you know what? It's better to get the suspensions now than later. So, just make sure. So that's why I don't think they'll be in too much trouble. Besides, like I said, the AFC North is going to get bad records this year. They're not going to have the best they've had because they're playing a brutal season against the NFC West. So, yeah. Not their fault, schedule makers. But anyway, at number 4, I know you won't like this, Bill, I have the Green Bay Packers. Jordy Nelson being gone made them drop from this list from 3 to 4. But they will persevere whether you want them to or not. They still have Randall Cobb, they'll have Eddie Lacy. I think they have Devontae Adams, right, on their team?
I think he's in Atlanta now.
Oh, he is?
He might be on Green Bay. I don't pay attention to Green Bay, so I don't know.
Okay, I don't know either, but yeah. So that's the thing now. And Aaron Rodgers is there, so they'll be fine. But yeah, I think Jordy Nelson will matter more in the postseason, like I've said before, than in the regular season. It's just their defense that really holds them back, but they've got some talent on there. At number 3, the New England Patriots. Why, Bill? Bill Belichick's there, Tom Brady's there, Gronkowski's there. They'll do okay. They are a playoff team, I think, no matter what.
Right.
But out of all their playoff attempts, this will be their hardest, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think they still have better odds at going to the Super Bowl more than Peyton Manning and his Denver Broncos. And that's ironic considering the Broncos have a more overall team better than New England. But anyway, at number 2, I agree with everything you said on with the Colts, Bill. But I've got to go with the Colts all the same. Everything has gone their way, and they have an easy schedule. People said last year's schedule was easy for Houston and Indy. No, I disagree. You played the AFC North. Now you don't. What do you play? The NFC East? Not the NFC East. You play the NFC South, and then you play the AFC East. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
The Colts have a shot at having the best record, having they have a shot at the first and second round spot, or second place team, and get a first round bye because their schedule is too easy. If I had to predict their record, they will probably go 12-4, losing to the Patriots. If Ryan Mallett comes in, they'll lose to him once, maybe, and Houston. And they'll probably lose to Denver, maybe. I don't know. But they're going to go 12-4. I think they'll be fine. If they secure a first round bye, they're going to do fine. But again, this is also a boomer bust team, kind of like the you know how my other list I said I think I said the Jaguars was like the boomer bust, maybe. I don't remember. Oh, they were my risk. They're my risk for being so high. That's what I mean. They're a risk, but I'm giving the Colts the benefit of the doubt because they play in an easy division and they're playing easier divisions in this year. But anyway, at number 1, I have Seattle because Seattle is also one of the better overall teams, like Denver, like Detroit. So they also have a great shot. They are also the team to beat in the NFC. They are the team to beat still. Gronkowski was nice, though, at the expense of their center tackle, which that may or may not bite them in the ass, considering they're a run-first team. But I'm not going to doubt them as much unless they really go bad out of the gate, which I don't think will happen. But anyway, Bill, do you have any questions regarding my top 7?
No, sounds reasonable.
All right. So, Bill, it's time. It's time for Week 1 picks.
Oh, man.
I'm going to do something interesting, though. We're going to do the same way we did. Like, one of us goes first, then the other goes after that for each game. But I don't know if I'll be able to go through this the whole way through. I want to count how many we get right and wrong. I want to see how well our prediction minds can go. But anyway, Bill, I want you to start us off with Thursday's game on NBC.
Okay, so it's the Pittsburgh Steelers at the New England Patriots. And I have the Patriots defeating the Steelers on a very special night when they raised the banner, like 34-20. It's going to be a high-scoring game. Both defenses probably won't play really well. It's going to be a loosey-goosey type game.
Hold on a second. Alright, more interruptions, so that should be the last one, hopefully. I was trying to say the Patriots will win this if, even though Brady was back, the Steelers still don't have they don't have their players. All they have is Antonio Brown. I don't think that'll be enough. I have the New England Patriots defeating the Pittsburgh Steelers on opening night. What a way. A win for America.
Alright. So we're moving on to Sunday. The 1 o'clock games. Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears. And I have the Green Bay Packers defeating the Chicago Bears. In a blowout.
I have them also beating them in a blowout. What does Chicago have to stop Aaron Rodgers? I can't think of anything, really. But this next game I want to talk about first, Bill, but go on. Announce it.
Next game is the Kansas City Chiefs at the Houston Texans.
Houston, if only you had Foster and if only you had Mallet, but you instead chose it to play it safe. And you will pay for playing it too safe. The Kansas City Chiefs defense will stuff Brian Hoyer, sacking him 3 times. But it will be a good showing by Houston at least, as DeAndre Hopkins gets a touchdown, and they will fall to the Kansas City Chiefs.
And I totally agree. The Kansas City Chiefs will defeat the Houston Texans.
Next game, Bill.
It's the Cleveland Browns at the New York Jets.
Oh man, Bill, this is like one of the 2 games where some of the worst teams on our list play each other, and this is one of them. If the Browns started Johnny Manziel, I would say they had a shot, but no. The Jets will stuff them. Muhammad Wilkerson and their Leonard Williams will just murder Josh McCown in front of thousands of people to see. I have the Jets winning their home opener, and Jets Nation gets hyped.
I also have the New York Jets defeating the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, man.
I don't see how Cleveland's going to win, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
So, next up, the Indianapolis Colts at the Buffalo Bills.
I'd like to activate my upset of the week. Buffalo Bills will... It's like what you said, Bill. If a defense stops Andrew Luck, what can they do? This is a good early matchup for Tyrod Taylor in terms of defenses to play, and he's still got weapons like LaShawn McCoy, who will be the breakout player of the game, shredding the Colts' defense, and the Buffalo Bills will win. But the Colts need not worry because, like I said, they play in an easy division. It's just this is probably the one team apart from the New England Patriots that could stop them. But
Right.
like I said, don't worry, don't worry, Colts. You're gonna still win the division. So yeah.
Right.
What do you got, Phil?
And I got the Colts. Oh man.
Oh man, seriously? Oh, and I need to remind you, the Colts lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in the first week last year. But like I said, that didn't matter. So this shouldn't matter either.
Right.
Continue.
So next up, we got the Miami Dolphins at the Washington Football Team.
What chance do they have? They're gonna.
And I got the Dolphins.
I got the Dolphins, man. They're gonna. Ndamukong Suh's gonna sack Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins gonna at least put up a good show. Put maybe 13 points on the board, maybe. Not his fault. He's playing a great defense. I wouldn't blame him for that. Too good for them. All right, Bill. Next game.
Next up, Carolina Panthers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I've got the Panthers defeating the Jaguars in this game.
I have the Panthers also beating the Jaguars as the first cat fight of the season ends with the Panthers just going to town on Jacksonville because Cam Newton has to do everything himself these days.
Yep. Oh man.
All right, Bill. What do you got? Next one.
So next up is the Seattle Seahawks against the St. Louis Rams.
I really wanted to make this my upset of the week too, but oh man, Seattle's not gonna fall for the same tricks twice. I've gotta give it to Seattle on this one.
I'm also taking Seattle in this game. I just feel they're just too much for the Rams, but the Rams are there.
This is the one game I want to be wrong on, just to clarify. Well, one of two games actually.
Alright, so the next game up is the New Orleans Saints at Arizona Cardinals.
These are the 4 o'clock games too.
Yep, 4 o'clock games.
The Cardinals will just, their defense is much better than the Saints, and their offense is a little better than the Saints, even if Drew Brees is the better quarterback in this game. I'm going to give it to the Cardinals, and it's their step towards a comeback and maybe making the playoffs with a good quarterback this time. I'm giving it to Arizona.
I am also giving it to Arizona. I just don't see how the Saints are going to win, and they're going to have some growing pains without Jimmy Graham.
All right.
Next up, the Detroit Lions at San Diego.
Give me your thoughts, Phil.
I got the Lions winning because the Lions defense is going to harass Phil Rivers, and I feel like Amir Abdullah's run wild, and I feel like Calvin Johnson's gonna get free because of it, and the Lions offense just starts off the season really red hot.
I'm going to give it to the Lions as well, but I'm going to say the rookie running backs are going to do great in this game. Melvin Gordon for the Chargers and for Amir Abdullah for the Detroit Lions, showing promise for both teams, which they'll need that especially to happen deeper in on the season. But it's got to go to Detroit, Bill. What do you got?
All right, so next up, the Tennessee Titans at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
This is the other game, by the way, where two of our worst 7 teams are on the list, and they're playing each other. And Bill, this game's very special because 2 particular players are playing each other. Can you share who they are? Perhaps the next Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady thing, assuming they're as good as them, of course. But tell me who those players are.
It's Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota.
I think they did this knowing that those 2 teams were going to get them both. I think they did know ahead of time. Conspiracy. But who do you got winning, Bill? Who do you got winning?
Oh my God. Well, this is hard. I'm gonna go Tampa Bay. They just got a little bit more than Tennessee
Exactly.
does.
I think Tampa Bay has a little more of an edge here, not just because they're at home, but man, Jameis Winston's gonna fire the cannon when he throws his first touchdown pass of the official football season to Mike Evans, my favorite wide receiver out of last year, like I said. But what do we got next, Bill?
Next up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Oakland Raiders. And I obviously have the Cincinnati Bengals defeating the Raiders.
I really wanted to give it to the Raiders, but this is the other game I want to be wrong in. Cincinnati's just a better team. They're gonna do great. At least Oakland will. Amari Cooper should get his first touchdown at least. So fear not, Oakland. This is only but one little pain as you progress to be a better team.
And then
what do we got, Bill?
The next game is the Baltimore Ravens at the Denver Broncos.
Oh man, go on.
I got the Denver Broncos beating the Ravens. I mean, it's Peyton Manning's probably final year. I feel like he's going to go out with a bang, and he's going to start the season right.
I have to agree with you, Bill, as I think that the Denver Broncos will not shut out the Ravens, but you know what? It's going to be an ugly game. I'm talking 10-3 here.
Also, the last time the Broncos played the Ravens in the first week, Peyton Manning threw for 7 touchdown passes.
Oh.
Just saying.
Oh man, I'm going to see this score. I'm gonna see the score right now. 49-27. Holy shit! Get wrecked. Horrible. That's disgusting. All
Oh,
right.
man.
What do you got, Bill,
So-
for the next game?
The Sunday night football game is the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys.
No JPP? Still no chance. No defense for the Giants. It doesn't give them a win. For once, Dallas has the better defense in a game. They have a better defense against the Giants, and they have, I think, a better passing game. Sure, the Giants have Odell Beckham, but Cruz is still not coming into play. So I think even if the running game is not going to be at its best here, it doesn't matter. I think as long as Romo is well protected, which against this defensive line he very much will, Cowboys have this one. Six or 7 in a row wins against the Giants. I think we're going 6.
Something like that. I totally agree. I got them winning as well.
All right. We got 2 Monday night
Next up,
games now.
The Monday night game, the first one of 2, is the Philadelphia Eagles at the Atlanta Falcons.
The first battle of the birds already, and I gotta give it to the better bird, the Philadelphia Eagles. DeMarco Murray will run for 2 touchdowns against that crummy Atlanta Falcons defense.
I think DeMarco's I have a 200-yard game against that defense, and the Eagles are going to stomp the Falcons.
Oh man. Next one, Bill.
And the last game of the week is the Minnesota Vikings at the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh man.
All right.
Bill, this is
So-
in your division. You talk about it.
My thoughts is that Adrian Peterson's going to run for 150 yards on a really terrible 49ers defense, and that the Vikings will win this game.
Oh, I think this is going to be a very run-based game for both teams. That rugby player's going to rush for like 80 yards and a touchdown, but Adrian Peterson's going to rush for like 120 and 2 touchdowns and all. And the overhyped team of this year is going to continue to get more hype. That it's going to lose eventually, but yeah, Vikings, they totally have this one. But Bill, we need to talk about the first Sunday night football on CBS, just in case we're not around.
And which is Denver versus Kansas City, correct?
Yes. Who do you got, Bill?
I've got Denver beating Kansas City.
I have to say no to that because they're going to split. These two teams are going to split. I think Alex Smith might not even be at his best here, but Jamal Charles will go in for 2 touchdowns and beat the Denver Broncos in a close matchup. But
I mean,
hey, I say they're just going to split with them because Kansas City, it's them and San Diego for the number 2 spot, and so it begins. But alas, that's it for week 1 of the of football talks, and the NFL week starts on Sunday. Technically Thursday for that opening game, but whatever. Bill, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
nothing much.
I'm excited. I can't wait, Bill. I hope. Is it Sunday yet? Because I sure hope it is. But anyway, that'll do for this video. We'll see you guys later.